Hello everyone, thanks for joining the call. This heads up is to give you idea about what we plan to cover in those 2 days of bootcamp which is happening on April 14th. So let's start. First of all, am I qualified to talk about a subject which is under research? Uh, so I have learned this through hard way. Since past 3 years, I am working on this in this field, uh, touching OpenCV, OpenVX, and deep learning. So we have built a product using these technologies. I just wanted to show you a demo, and then we can take it forward from there.
More. This is we are just launching our application. Here this is a lock screen rendered and this is the camera rendered, which basically means what a camera is seeing in the cart and around its vicinity. This is a log screen where we will see all the system logs again, and this is the shopping list where all the products will be displayed that are being placed in the cart or a shopper wants to buy. So let's start with adding products. Here we go. We have added one product. You can hear the beep on a successful addition of every product. We've added one more. Here you can see Rex powder has been added. As you can see, the system is very quick. Now let's see if a system can detect two similar looking products. Both packets look similar. We dropped one, and yes, system has successfully added the right product. So it is not confusing between the two similar looking products. It picks up the two similar looking products as well. Now we will just remove the products. As you can see, you just have to pick the products from the cart and system will tag it as a product removed. You can see we removed two products over here. Now there may be a scenario where we may add some unscanned products also. Unscanned product is basically a product which is not having any reference in the DB. As you can see, we dropped this particular product and system is showing as unscanned item found, and it will stop the system. So user cannot add more products. We do it again. So as you can see, once the product is added, it detects it as an unscanned item found. So this is to make sure that a user only adds product which is in the DB, and if he adds any other product, it will be detected as an unscanned item found. Now this is a vicinity test. This is an interesting scenario. It may happen that there are multiple products outside the periphery of the cart. As you can see, there may be products on the aisle, products in some other cart, and camera might see them. But if a camera is seeing them, it should not detect it. The system will start detecting the product only when it comes in the periphery of the cart. As you can see, it comes near it and then only it is added. So any product around the cart's vicinity or outside the periphery of the cart will not be detected or scanned. So there are two steps here. One is scanning the product, which is done by the camera, and second is the verification. We will remove few products for the next demo. So now we will test it with us two different tricks. We are showing one product to this camera for scanning and we'll add, and let's see our verification system works or no. We have shown it Rex. You can see the camera read it as a Rex baking powder, but it has not added yet. Now we will drop one Maggi noodles packet on the platform and the product will be added. And as you can see, it adds Maggi noodles and not Rex baking soda.
All right, so this was about the demo which we have built for our product. This is, I guess, 3-4 months old. We have made a significant progress since then. Uh, so during this project, I learned a lot, and I wanted to share those details with you. So hence, I feel I am sort of qualified. Those who do not know about machine learning, deep learning, I think the best place is to read this article, Software 2.0 by Andrei Karpathy. He's deep learning hero. I would say the most leading person as of today, including a lot of there are other folks as well. So if you go through his blog, Software 2.0, you'll get a decent idea what he what he means by saying software 2.0, why he says so. Because software 1.0 till date was about you have a logic and you implement that logic using one of these programming language, whereas software 2.0 is completely different. It's all about setting the right weights using the best possible training logic, and there is no human involved. So when there is no human involved, there are very rare chances of having bugs or faulty code and stuff like that. The caveat is that you have to train your system with utmost accuracy and having as less losses as possible. So they are basically training in validation losses. We'll go through all these keywords when we actually talk in the boot camp. But till now, I mean, for now, just go through this blog and you'll get a very decent idea what is the future and how you should start thinking about applying deep learning, machine learning to the real world problems. All right. The agenda for the bootcamp is going to be a practical approach. There are a lot of theoretical concepts which we will definitely talk, but I will give you largely about the intuition about those things. It's not a lecture or a class where we will do a lot of math, but essentially we will do a lot of practical implementation in coding. So hence I say it's a practical approach rather than a lecturing session. I'll give you very decent intuition about the convolutional operations, how they are done using some graphics and all that. So you'll get a decent idea how it's being done. It's very important to get that intuition, because unless you understand how it's being done, it's very difficult to actually understand the whole technology. The building blocks of CNN, there are a lot of new keywords, concepts. I would say unlearn your old knowledge and come up with a fresh mind so that you can absorb these new concepts, new terminologies, ideas, tools in ML. So what has happened is all the companies, Google, uh, Apple, Microsoft, all these companies are not actually working in silos, but they have understood that this field is such a vast and large field that they themselves cannot make an ecosystem around it. So hence they have reached out to the world. And to tell you what I mean to say is that all these projects are in open source domain. So anyone can actually pitch in and work on the frameworks or use this technology for their use. So it's completely open source. Everyone feels that uh, it should be driven by everyone. It's not, you cannot work in silos. So when I say so, I mean to say that there are a lot of tools, and it is very important that you must understand which tool to use for your use case. Because if you are doing some prototyping, that's perfectly fine. But when you reach to a production level, then you may have to migrate to some other tools. So to keep that journey smooth and safe, I will give you some tips about the choice of the tools. We will build our first CNN, and this is when I say we, which means like we all will do examples and exercises during the session. Transition from CNN to DNN. We will build our first DNN application. It's again going to be exercise. Strategies to improve the accuracy. So there are no design patterns as so to say, but there are some good practices, best practices which we can use. Uh, Not everything can be applied to a specific application, but there are some good things which we can learn from other applications. And hence I say it's basically a strategy to improve the accuracy rather than a design pattern to improve the accuracy. So we'll go through that as well. Data augmentation, I'll give you two approaches wherein you can augment the data beforehand or you can augment the data during the training. So I'll go through that with a sample code. I'll give you some idea about the some topics under research. If you are coming from research background or research mindset, I think these tips may help you to explore those areas. We'll talk about a lot of various applications, uh, tips to make a rig, very important to know. You cannot actually rely completely on these cloud-based machines because they are very expensive. And it is very important to understand that deep learning is all about experiment. For that matter, data science field is all about experiments. So I think you will be the most luckiest person in the world if you get everything running and working in the first go. It's I think it's just not possible. So you have to do a lot of exercise, and if you do that on these cloud servers, it's going to be very costly. So that's the reason I say that you have to have your own rig to work on it. uh, so we will take a look at how can we make a low cost yet very powerful deep learning rig. Just a text explanation of what we discussed in the previous slide. Who should join the bootcamp? So if you think that you know machine learning, uh, so I think I would say think twice. For simple reason, unless you have made an application out of it, I think you have not really touched the soul of machine learning or deep learning. So it is very important to actually build an application considering a product or a production level uh, uh, grade, because when you do that, then you actually come across a lot of other issues: speed, performance, real-time nature, data set, and blah blah blah. There are so many things. So I would say, if you have not done that, I think this session is for you. There is no prior baggage is required. You may be very good at some programming languages, but that is not quite really required here. If you know Python or NumPy, I think that should suffice the need for this bootcamp. When I say NumPy, it's basically a multi-dimensional library wherein you can define your multi-dimensional matrices and use them during our implementation. Uh, and if you have some amazing applications in your mind, and which you think that those can be game changing using these technologies, I think this session again is for you. So applying knowledge to various applications, we will definitely talk about a lot of applications, but this session will also give you indication where to apply these technologies and where not, because uh, these applications are data hungry. So you need to have that data set. If you have that data set, clean data set, then you can use these applications. Uh, uh, Otherwise, it's not quite easy to basically use these applications. But anyways, we will talk about these applications in detail when we get into the session. And it's time for Q&A. So if you have any questions, I just wanted to give you some idea about the boot session, but if you have any specific questions or want to understand more about the bootcamp prior to that, I think this is the time. So thanks so much. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for listening to me. Uh, and we are open for the questions. Thanks.